everybody. Welcome to the Teal podcast. You're here with me, Karen Pollard, and my co-host, Joey DeGangi. So today we have an incredibly inspiring and knowledgeable guest joining us, Cara Redpath, who is a BANT registered nutritional therapist. Hopefully I got that right. Yeah. And Cara is just a gem and adds so much value to the food allergy community, and has many clients and offers a lot of support in the UK. So Cara actually specialises in paediatric health, gut health, allergies and immunity, and more recently has had a lot of clients that she's been helping with fertility as well. So welcome, Cara.
Hi, it's lovely to be here. It's really nice.
Amazing. So you're joining us all the way from Oban in Scotland, aren't you?
Yeah, I am. I was just showing you out the window there. It's a gorgeous little community on the west coast of Scotland, and it looks out onto Mull, Cara and Lismore, and I see the ferries coming in and out over my window. But it does have signalling difficulties because it's very rural, so if we cut out, that's what it is.
Oh god. And you've only just recently moved there a few months ago, haven't you?
Yeah, so I was living in Edinburgh, which is the capital of Scotland, and I have lived there my whole life, bar a few times when I was abroad, and it's a great city, fantastic festival city, but during the pandemic and lockdown, my entire clinic moved online, and so I had no reason to stay in the city, and my hobbies are hiking, and I was finding that I was traveling 3 hours in the car every day that I had off to go and climb the mountains, and I thought, I could just move there.
Why not?
Yeah, why not? So I found a friend who was also willing to change his entire life to move to a small rural community, and he found a job as a teacher here, and we moved 3 or 4 weeks later. So it's been a bit of a whirlwind, but that was 4 months ago, and I have genuinely never been happier. So it was nice to move all around.
That's
amazing.
How's life changed, and your working life changed, because it's a completely different dynamic, isn't it?
Yeah, so I have a nutrition clinic here in Oban, where people can come physically in with social distancing and masks and all the rest of it, and also an online clinic still for the rest of the UK. And certainly my work as a nutritional therapist in a small town is radically different to what it was in the west end of a city. Right next to kind of the main landmarks. I used to be able to see the castle out my window, and now I see ferries. So it's really changed, and I think the radical change has been that people come on a ferry to see me, and they come from tiny islands in the dead of night. It feels, even if it's only 6:30, it gets so dark, and they come to see me on these tiny wee boats off of islands like Easdale, which are honestly postage stamp, to see me, because I'm the only nutritionist on the west coast, really. So there's nutritionists in Glasgow, and then from Glasgow it's me. So it's incredible privilege, and we have to kind of work around what's available in the shops here, what can get on the ferry, what can't get on the ferry. If there's a landslide, then the food lorries don't get up here, so vegetables are in shorter supply. We've just got a new organic veg shop, and it has been the best thing. But even his supply only comes in once a week, so you have to get it when it's fresh. So it's working out the logistics of a town that's very isolated, as opposed to a city that has 24-hour shops. So it's been a real learning curve for me, but it's nutrition like I've never done before, and I love it because it's actually helping people.
I can't believe that you're the only nutritional therapist there. What did they used to do beforehand?
They didn't have anybody. So I'm seeing people who have been ill for 25 years, who've been suffering with allergies for 25 years and have never had any allergy support in their life. Allergies are indiscriminate. They can happen in small towns, they can happen in islands, they can happen in capital cities. So you need that help wherever you are. And yeah, I'm the first time it showed up here, and that's why it's so moving, because explaining what's happening and why the reactions are happening and what can be done about it with really simple steps and hacks has been kind of exceptional, and seeing people making those connections for the first time. So yeah, it's there's definitely a book in it somewhere.
There is. I was just about to say that. And you're like the Vicar of Dibley, but in nutrition.
It's certainly something that, you know, this time last year I could never have predicted, most of us, where my life would be now, but it's been really exceptional.
It's the impact that you must be having, and I mean, you must be instantly recognizable wherever you go.
I do get so. There's a few mental health practitioners in Oban, and they have their own radio show, and so people ask me if I'm Mare, who's the main person who takes the radio show, and I go, no, I'm Cara, and they go, oh, that's right, yes, the nutritionist. And word spreads around, you know, I'll meet someone on the street and they'll go, aren't you the person that's telling everyone to eat broccoli? And I'll be like, oh yeah, hi, I'm Cara, and oh, my friend comes to see you and she says this. And so yeah, I do get stopped quite a bit, and asked questions just on the street or while I'm doing the supermarket shopping. And on a Friday we get a bottle of fizz because everything is shut here, and that's the way of marking the end of the week, you know, because we're still very much in a restricted state. And I always worry that one of my clients will find me in the supermarket. So that's the beauty of online, right? Like, people are across the whole UK.
That's true. That's true. So 2020 really has been a year of changes for you then.
Yeah, it has, yeah.
And I think it's really exciting, the fact that you are so digitally minded, because by the sounds of it, you can't exactly split yourself in 10. So no. I think the digital side and being able to offer online support has been really helpful. Can you talk us a bit through that?
I offer online nutritional therapy consultations to anyone in the UK, and that's been a real change we've seen in the industry really since March, when we saw a change in every industry. But people have become more amenable to it and more accepting of online therapy as a form of legitimate therapy. Before we were certainly very skeptical of it. So I've seen a real boom in that, and people have also become very, they've had time to sit and think about their chronic health conditions and how it's impacting on their life. So my clinic has just gone pretty crazy, and that happened in August. It's like we did, 4 months of sitting and thinking and reflecting, and then there was just this incredible shift and change. So I am seeing more people with allergies and more people with fertility, actually, and that's why my clinic has been moving in that direction, as well as within the allergy community. And that's something that, as a therapist, I really enjoy. I never wanted to pigeonhole myself as one specific kind of person. I've always studied general medicine, if that's the term for it. So I was a paediatric nurse before retraining as a nutritional therapist, and I specialised in accidents and emergencies because I wanted to see and help everybody, specifically children. And I loved general practice. I loved community nursing. I did a lot of placements with the health visitor at the time in small communities, which now I'm looking back and thinking, oh, this was all training for Oban. So I did a lot of those kind of generalist placements. And although I love the allergy community and really specialise and have grown up in that, as a therapist, I think it was really important to also help other people, because the body kind of all works on similar systems. And so once you understand how those systems work, you can support people with other conditions too. And the more support you give to other conditions, the more it informs your practice as an immune supporter or as an allergist. The body is all connected. So, and it keeps it interesting for me, and it keeps me thinking and not becoming complacent as a practitioner, because I'm always reaching for the next thing. And if I find the next thing, for example, in ulcerative colitis, there's usually a connection back to allergies. But that can be because it's the gut connection, and permeability argument there with ulcerative colitis. So there's always a benefit to expanding and looking at other things and just helping more people who are ultimately struggling. That's the main thing there.
That's interesting what you're saying there. So do you think that when people look at allergies, it's almost been put in a separate little box?
Yeah, so allergies have been pigeonholed as food, first of all, and specifically nuts, eggs, dairy, and gluten. And there's been very little thought given to multiple food allergies, allergies from the environment. Internal allergies like a histamine reaction can occur without any food. You can just be intolerant to the histamine your body produces. And so understanding the allergic response takes understanding the entire body as a whole, because the allergic response can happen within any part of the body, really, but specifically it happens an interaction between environmental toxicity, whichever form that comes into the body, the immune system and the gut, and it's the reaction between the three that can cause problems. And you've got immune cells in every part of the body. You have, the gut controls a huge proportion of the body. So you're really, you are looking at the body as a whole, and we've got topics and topics to discuss, even about the connection between the gut and the blood-brain barrier, and how that can cause behavioral damage in children who are allergic. So it's a really, really expanding field, and I think it has been pigeonholed. It will do a skin prick test and then you're allergic to that, with no follow-on care as to, okay, you're allergic to that, how do we make the rest of your life really rich and dietary varied and nutrient dense, as opposed to just take away. So I put in. That's the majority of my job.
It's an incredibly well-rounded and well-informed approach, and I think it's key to think of it as a strategy, a long-term strategy. Obviously, we're kissing goodbye to 2020.
Yes. The long-awaited,
At the beginning of the year, I referred to it as 20-plenty, but 20 of what?
It's true. Very true.
Absolutely, Joey. As we embrace 2021, and I think there is this idea of hopefulness as to things can't get any worse. How can we make it better next year? What can we do in 2021? I'm going to ask you then, Cara, what would your strategy be? Looking at the families and the individuals that we support in the food allergy community, bearing in mind things are still pretty tough. We've recently received the news that vaccines are out, but no, they're not good for people with allergies. So we're still in a group that needs to be supported, but we're not quite out of the woods yet. What advice do you have for us going into 21?
So I think 2021 is really interesting because we did go into 2020 with so much hope. It's a new decade, and I was so optimistic. And I am still optimistic, but I'm optimistic with a large pinch of realism. And I think although the vaccination program is excellent and brilliant, it's going to take a long time to kick in and be effective in combating this. And we've had it proved that we cannot have vaccinations for those who are anaphylactically allergic. So that leaves that community feeling isolated and kind of let down, and needing to be supported within the next coming year until we have a situation where that might be safe for them. So I think my biggest advice for 2021 before everything else is arm yourself with support. And I think that goes for everyone in 2021. We all need support because it's brutal, and we cannot what's the word for it, disassociate with how much of a struggle 2020 has been. So giving yourself that support network as an allergy family or allergy sufferer, and that might come in the form of a coach, a therapist from a mental health perspective, someone who is an allergy coach or specialist, a homeopath, a herbalist, or a nutritional therapist. It doesn't matter what form that professional comes in, but it wants to be a professional who is going to support you with your allergy journey and help you weed out the branches from the trees, as it were, you know, help you see the things that you need to, and give you advice on supplementation, on foods to eat, on tests to particularly do. So there's lots of tests we can do in the allergy community. Some of them are not suitable for everyone. So just having that kind of big sister or big brother to hold your hand throughout the journey and give you a bit of support going forward. So that's number one, is arm yourself. While your intentions are still good in the new year, arm yourself with a support system. And there is multiple allergy specialists out there in the complementary health sphere. Certainly the ones that are very much trained in that respect are nutritional therapists. And if you go on the BANT register, you will find a nutritional, so BANT is my professional body, and you just type in your postcode and you can find your specialist for that area of the UK. There'll be a separate system in the US, but you can find a registered practitioner that will support you through that. It's very important that they are registered and have had the appropriate training. The next one I would say would be eating nutrient-dense foods within the sphere that you can. So with allergies, you will always have a limited or elimination diet. It doesn't matter if you've got 1 allergy, 14 allergies, 26 allergies, there will always be a limitation there. And so that can become quite socially isolating in of itself. And so it's about expanding what you can eat and focusing on nutrient density there, instead of ruminating over what you can't or constantly talking about exclusion. Let's talk about inclusion instead. Let's use more positive food language. So if you've been eating broccoli, for example, and you can eat cauliflower, try cauliflower. If you've been eating lots of white potato but you don't have an allergy to sweet potato, try sweet potato. Sweet potato is fantastic for those with allergies from a prebiotic fiber point of view, from a vitamin A for the gut lining point of view, avocado, vitamin E for your mucous membranes in your gastrointestinal tract and balancing the immune system. So there's so many beautiful nutrient dense foods out there within your limitations. I swear there's ones that you haven't thought about yet. Okay, I'm limited in this, but what can I eat? What haven't I tried yet? And how can I get the most bang for my buck out of my food? Would certainly be point 2. 3 would be looking at supplementation that is safe for you. So if you're in the Northern Hemisphere in January 2021, then that would be looking at vitamin D supplementation, 1,000 IUs for children over the age of 2, or an IU stands for international units, or 4,000 IUs for allergy adult, and that is to balance the immune system. So in allergies, the immune system is very high. It's like something's coming in and I'm going to react. So we want to bring it to balance. We don't want it too low and we don't want it too high. So you want it perfectly on that seesaw. And that's vitamin D's job. And certainly we were not getting enough from the sun or from our food in the Northern Hemisphere in the winter months. We should really, allergy or no allergy, all be supplementing with vitamin D. And in Scotland, they're looking at potentially putting it in the water supply. It's that kind of prevalent that there's not enough in our communities. And then looking at a good multivitamin, and that's all something that a practitioner can support you with, to find the right one for your allergies with the right level of methylated or non-methylated B vitamins, which is something we can potentially go into in another podcast. But not all multivitamins are created equal, and it's important to get a clean, strong one with the right levels. Arming yourself with a practitioner supported multivitamin and vitamin D supplement would be an incredibly good intention to set for the new year, because you're putting your health first by doing that. You are essentially doing prophylactic care, preventative care, and anyone living in a pandemic should be taking extra vitamins and minerals. That goes without saying, and especially those who potentially cannot get the vaccination.
Cara, that is brilliant advice. So to recap, because it's a lot for us to take away. So I like that. 3 steps. A 3-step strategy to start the year strong. So number one
would be building a professional body and support system around you.
Brilliant. Love that.
In whatever form that comes, in whatever form you're comfortable with. So for some people that is a coach or a CBT therapist or counsellor, and certainly for allergy parents that can be really supportive, because it's a lot of trauma to have a child who goes into anaphylaxis at birth or in the first year of life. So that's certainly something that works really well for some people, or it's a nutritional therapist, herbalist or homeopath. Within your kind of conventional care. So that would be point number 1 for the new year.
And actually, just something very quickly to touch on what you were saying there about being your first year, for those winter babies that are being born. A quick takeaway for any new mums, because they're probably starting their journeys and nutritional journeys and weaning and allergy journeys. We had a Christmas baby, so I know how tough winter babies can be.
So winter babies are really hard, especially this year, because you're socially isolated. So I would just say, be really mindful of your own mental health, and as a mother, and support yourself. If you are breastfeeding, supporting yourself with the right multivitamin, the right lactation formula, and leaning on your support bubble, whichever country that is. We are allowed support bubbles for new mums, so lean on that massively.
And number 2, what was number 2 in your list?
So number 2 was expanding your nutritional horizons within the limitations of your dietary requirements. So not being scared to try new foods, and to look at nutrient density above all else. So if it's a potato, looking at a sweet potato instead. If it's broccoli, look at cauliflower. If you're having salad, could you put some avocado on that? Usually with allergies, we find that vegetables are well tolerated. Now, we could go into FODMAPs and all the rest of it, but typically with allergies, vegetables are safe foods, and there are just so many varieties. So for example, if you're all right with peppers, bell peppers, you could have a green pepper instead of a red pepper and see how that goes, because they've each got different nutrient profiles. So that would be point 2. And point 3 was looking at supplementation that's safe for winter. So vitamin D and a multivitamin and mineral in the correct form for you, and something that you don't just buy out of the supermarket, but you buy from a dedicated health shop that has proper practitioner supplementation that's clean and safe for your allergy.
And I think that's interesting, because if you are buying from a health store as opposed to the supermarket, you are going to be paying a premium price. But it's that argument of, can you put a price on your health? You are going to be investing that much more financially. Then what should you be looking for then?
Well, you really do get what you pay for with nutritional supplementation. So I'm not saying look for the most expensive thing out there, but certainly consider it, especially with something that's allergy friendly. So you want something that has very few excipitants in it. So very few fillers. So it doesn't want to be full of magnesium stearate or titanium dioxide or chalk even. It really just wants to be the nutrients in the cellulose capsule in which it comes. So you're looking for something that's really clean and doesn't have a list of fillers. So it will always tell you supplements and the form in which they come, the nutrients in the form in which they come, and then underneath it will tell you additives. And if you've got a list of 5 or more additives, then that supplement is not for you. Brands that are really leading the way with hypoallergenic supplementation, for me, it will always be BioCare. BioCare is fantastic. I cannot say enough about them, and they listen to us as practitioners and what we need for our clients. They are fantastic, and they have some incredibly strong multi-nutrient powders, which is very good to use for the whole family. And they also have an incredibly good children's range that is based around gut healing. So more often than not with an allergy child, I'll be using the BioCare range above everything else, but they are practitioner supplements. So you want to be seeing a practitioner or asking a practitioner's advice before you give that to your child, because a lot of their supplements are strong. Another good company is Cytoplan. Again, fantastic professional development there, and they really care about their practitioners. They are moving more and more towards being a vegan company, so you're guaranteed to get egg-free and milk-free supplements, which can be really supportive. And their supplements are very, very clean. And then we have Pure Encapsulations, which is more available in America. Biotics and Allergy Research are all American companies too, and they do wonderful practitioner-based supplements. You can get Biotics and Allergy Research here, but it has to go through, you'll not get them in the health food shop. A practitioner would have to order them for you, but they're freely available in the US. You can also go for a NutriAdvance. Now, NutriAdvance is one of my favorite supplement companies. They have punchy formulas. You don't mess around with a NutriAdvance, you feel it. I like my personal supplements to be ones that I notice a difference on. And I often will prescribe a NutriAdvance supplement to an allergy child. They have brilliant, almost medical based formulas for gut healing, and they are developed by world leading naturopaths. I mean, they are all singing, all dancing supplementation, that company. So anything from those range, you really don't want to be looking at a non-branded supplement or a Tesco or Holden Barrett or anything like that. It wants to be, okay, that's a practitioner based supplementation.
Do you recognize any of those names from the US, Joey?
Not offhand, no. No, but I do find it. I have to go look them up now.
Yes. Definitely for me too. We went through a bit of a rabbit warren, so we've been stuck in the supermarket shelves ones, because we've been looking at, okay, well, what's not in there from an allergen perspective. But it's good to know that there are these brands that we can actually research and look at, because at the end of the day, like you touched on earlier, Cara, children with allergies and families with allergies, in an eliminated diet, you've got to make sure you're feeding it that much more to make sure you're not missing out on those vital nutrients.
Most allergy kids will require a multivitamin, and that's just a cold hard fact of the condition. If you have a diabetic child, you're going to be giving them insulin. So I think we need to step away from, oh, it's just a dietary thing, they don't need medication or they don't need any kind of supplementation. They do, and it's a multivitamin. So it's getting the best possible thing for that child or that person, and using that almost as, well, this is what I need for optimal health. The good thing about all of the companies that I've just mentioned as well is they've all got clinical support. So if you're not seeing a nutritional therapist, you as a customer can call up clinical support and ask their advice. Particularly BioCare and NutriAdvance have the most wonderful nutritional therapists at the other end of the phone, who I will also use from time to time with complex clients where I just need to bounce something off, because they know their supplements so well. They know every single ingredient in those supplements. So they will speak to you on the phone for 25 minutes, go through your case with you, and really find the best thing for you. So any of the practitioner supported supplement companies will have nutritional therapists on the other phone, on the other end of the phone, that you can physically talk to and discuss your needs. So you really shouldn't be putting a supplement in your child or yourself without fully running it past a nutritional therapist or herbalist in any which form, because it could interact with your medication as well. And we have databases that we check it through before doing that. So that's why these companies are so good.
And that goes back to number one again, using your support network. Use them for your information, your resources, so that you're forearmed and forewarned. And what you were talking about earlier about ensuring you can have better preventative care for your health for 2021.
Yeah, exactly. So that you're in the driving seat. I like to talk about becoming the CEO of your own personal health journey. Nobody knows you like you know. I don't as your nutritional therapist. Your doctor doesn't, your consultant doesn't. You know your child. And a mother's instinct is always right, a father's instinct is always right, and your own personal instinct about your own health is always right.
Yeah.
And so you need to be able to advocate for yourself from an informed point of view. And if you don't have the information to do that, then you're already on the back foot with the professionals that could help you or are potentially putting roadblocks towards helping you. And certainly with getting celiac disease diagnosed and other allergens, it can be a long journey with the medical professionals, and you need to have all your T's crossed and your I's dotted. And so having a support network that can of complementary therapists that can tell you, okay, this is what you need to go look at. And this would be a really good research portal to go down, and this is a really good supplement, and I will physically write to your GP to support you with this, and this is how you get a letter for nursery. And that helps you then become the CEO of your own health journey, in the office of your own healing. You need to kind of turn up for work in your office with all of your information and advocate for yourself, and the way to do that is by having the proper support network around you, informed professionals.
That's an incredibly empowering message. We're so used to trying to fight for the allergy community to be able to advocate for themselves, but what you're saying is it starts with me. It starts here, where you can pass it out.
The wonderful Chris Carr kind of really put me onto this at the very beginning of my own journey, and she spoke very clearly about, you are interviewing people to be your doctors and physicians, you and your professionals. It's from you. If you don't trust them or gel with them as a practitioner, then they're not the right practitioner for you, or the right GP or the right doctor for you. And you always have control, and you're always in a position of consent or non-consent. So it really is putting the control back with the patient or client, that it's their instinct and their judgment and their informed choice.
Is there anything we haven't touched on? I mean, we could be sitting here for hours.
No, I think that's everything.
Where can people find you online, Cara?
Yeah, so people can find me via my website. It's cararedpathnutrition.com, and they can take a look at the menu of my services there, and contact me through that. Or I post regularly on social media. It's a daily thing for me. So, and I'm always in my DM supporting my own kind of community there. So that's Cara Redpath Nutrition on Instagram, and that's probably the best places to find me.
Amazing. And finally, how are you going to be ringing in the new year?
Well, we are obviously in 2020 trying to avoid the fact that New Year is even happening, and we can't travel anywhere. So we have booked a tiny wee cabin, me and my flatmate, up in Cailabloch, which is right beside Skye and Torridon and big snowy mountains. Be up there for 3 days, having lots of cozy suppers and walking in the hills. So that'll be my New Year's.
Amazing. I think we're going to be coming with, aren't we?
Yeah.
Oh, well, lovely chatting with you, and so pleased you came and joined us. And thank you for all that great advice. Really good stuff to take away.
Oh, you're welcome. And it'll be lovely to join you for further episodes. It's been really nice to talk today.
Thanks. Yeah, we can't wait.
Oh, fantastic.
All right. Take care.
See ya.
Okay, bye.